Have you ever stopped to wonder how your phone, the self-driving car, and a factory full of robots can all be on the same network at the same time without anything crashing? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden architecture of 5G and even getting a peek at the genius behind the 6G revolution that's coming. Let's get into it.
So this is the big question, right? This is the fundamental puzzle that 5G was built to solve. See, it's not just about being faster. It's about being way smarter, more responsive, and way more flexible than any network that's ever existed before. So, how do you do it? How do engineers actually build one system for so many completely different needs? That's the secret we're going to unlock.
You know, the best way to think about this is like we're building a brand new, intelligent city completely from scratch. Before you can even think about the cool stuff like skyscrapers and smart traffic lights, you got to start with the absolute basics, the raw materials and the fundamental infrastructure. And for a wireless network, that all comes down to two things: spectrum and hardware. First things first, the land and the roads for our new city. That's the spectrum. And as you can see here, not all spectrum is created equal, not by a long shot. You've got your high band or mmWave, which is like this massive multi-lane superhighway. It is incredibly fast. But, and it's a big but, it only goes for a few city blocks and a single wall can just stop it cold. On the flip side, you've got your low and mid-band spectrum. Think of these as your main streets and your country roads. They give you that awesome widespread coverage that goes for miles and gets right inside buildings, but they just don't have that crazy top speed. So a really great 5G network has to cleverly mix all three to give you both the speed you want and the reliability you need.
Okay, so our roads are mapped out. Now we need the actual hardware. You know, the on-ramps and the intersections. What's so cool about this is how it all breaks down into a kind of hierarchy. You've got your macro cells. Those are the huge towers you see along the highway, giving us that coast-to-coast coverage. But then, as you get into dense cities or you walk into a shopping mall, you need smaller, more targeted stuff. Microcells cover busy streets, picocells can handle a big office building, and then you have these tiny little femtocells that can act like your own personal cell tower, right in your house. Every single one plays a very specific and very crucial role in this whole ecosystem.
So, we've laid the foundation. We've got the roads and the hardware. Now we've got to manage the traffic. I mean, in a wireless world, you can't just have millions of devices all shouting on the same channel at once. That would be absolute chaos, total gridlock. You need a really smart traffic management system.
And the number one most fundamental rule of the road is this idea right here: frequency reuse. And it's actually a beautifully simple concept when you think about it. You just take a limited number of radio frequencies and you reuse them in different areas, or cells, that are just far enough apart that they don't mess with each other. This one elegant idea is what lets millions of us in a single city make calls and stream movies at the exact same time without the whole system just grinding to a halt.
But even with that system in place, older networks had this really big, really wasteful problem. They would just broadcast their signals in every single direction, kind of like a giant floodlight. This not only wasted a ton of energy by sending signals where there weren't any devices, but it also created a whole lot of unnecessary noise or interference for everybody else nearby.
And this is where the 5G solution gets really, really clever. It's called beamforming. So instead of that wasteful floodlight, 5G uses these arrays of tiny antennas. Engineers call it massive MIMO, and it creates a focused beam of data that's aimed directly at your specific device. It's like a smart spotlight that literally follows you around. The most important thing to get here is that this gives a stronger, faster signal directly to you, while at the same time it massively cuts down on interference for everyone else. It's just a huge leap forward in efficiency.
Okay, our city has its foundation, and it has a smart traffic system. But this is where 5G's biggest architectural innovation really shines. It's the ability to build custom infrastructure on top of that foundation. It literally creates dedicated, specialized lanes for every kind of traffic you can possibly imagine.
You know, this quote from Insego just nails the concept. It's called network slicing. And the magic here isn't building a bunch of separate physical networks. No. It's about creating multiple, totally independent virtual networks that are all running on the exact same physical hardware. It's incredible.
And these virtual lanes, or slices, they're each tailored for completely different jobs. First, you've got eMBB. That's the super fast lane for your 8K video stream. Then you've got URLLC. Think of this as the ultra-reliable, almost instantaneous emergency lane. This is for stuff that absolutely, positively cannot fail or lag, like a self-driving car's brakes or a remote surgery robot. And finally, you have mMTC.
This is a super efficient, slow and steady lane that's designed to handle billions of tiny, low-power devices, like a smart water meter that only needs to ping the network with a tiny piece of data once a day. So we have our amazing city with its custom lanes for every single type of vehicle. It's an incredible system. But what's next? Well, if we look out toward the horizon, the next big revolution, the goal for 6G, is to turn every single one of those lanes into a true two-way superhighway, with traffic flowing in both directions at the exact same time.
And here's why that's such a massive deal. Today's networks, yeah, even 5G, they operate on a principle called half-duplex. The best way to think about it is like a walkie-talkie. You can either talk or you can listen, but you can't do both at once on the same channel. Over. The goal for 6G is something called in-band full-duplex, and that's way more like a natural telephone call, where you and I can both talk and listen at the same time. This could almost double a network's efficiency and cut latency down even more. So you're probably thinking, if it's so much better, why aren't we doing this already? Well, the answer is this mind-bendingly difficult engineering problem called self-interference. Get this, when your phone transmits a signal, that signal is incredibly powerful right next to its own receiver. We're talking over 10 billion, with a B, times louder than the faint signal it's trying to pick up from a cell tower miles away. The analogy is perfect. It's literally like trying to hear a whisper while you are shouting at the top of your lungs. Your own voice just completely drowns everything else out. The solution, and what a huge amount of 6G research is focused on, is this incredible feat of engineering with some really sophisticated signal processing. Researchers are designing these complex, multi-stage cancellation systems that, in essence, create a perfect digital echo of their own shout, and then they subtract it from the incoming signal in real time. That's what could finally allow that faint whisper from the outside world to be heard crystal clear.
So, as we wrap things up here, the really crucial thing to take away is this. The evolution from 5G to 6G isn't just about getting a bigger speed number. It's a fundamental architectural shift. We've gone from a one-size-fits-all network to a dynamic, intelligent, custom-built platform that can be perfectly tailored for any application you can possibly dream up. This new architecture is really the foundation for a future where our digital and physical worlds become completely intertwined. It's what will enable everything from truly autonomous cities to the Metaverse. And that really leaves us with the big question, right? Once this powerful, intelligent, and super flexible foundation is built everywhere, what are we going to build on top of it?
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more How Meets History.